Kız yiğit kurbanğa ayak astı kılınğa ezilgen şu halkının kollarını süygün baminin her yadım asman felek dökülgeçke kan selde ejderhanın aksedim vatanımni algın baminin Azrail Uyghur mey vatan koldun her güçlü gey ay yıldız ayrılım gökyüzüne pürgün baminin
Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters. Welcome to another special episode of Turkic Turkestan. We've been away for a while, and back from our break, we have a very special guest joining us. Now, as you may have heard, 3 days ago, the Canadian Parliament passed a motion, finally, to allow at least 10,000 Uyghurs who are seeking refuge into Canada by 2024. Join with me today is the architect behind this motion, Brother MP Sameer Zuberi. Assalamu alaikum, brother. How are you today?
Like Assam, it's great to join you, Arslan. I'm well. In actually cold Montreal, it's unusually cold today, but it's around minus almost 30 with the wind chill. But that's exceptional. Not usually like that here.
Is that Celsius or Fahrenheit?
Celsius.
Yeah. So this morning here, I'm in DC. And it's -8. I know I've never been this cold in my life. I'm from Australia, so we never get this.
It's pretty exceptional. It doesn't usually happen.
Yeah. First of all, thank you so much. I'm sure you've got many thank yous from Uyghurs everywhere. But from me and my family, I'd like to thank you personally for driving this motion forward and alhamdulillah passing it finally in Canadian Parliament.
It was a team effort, and so many people were involved in this to make it happen. People who are seen and not seen, and it's all of those people also who deserve thanks. The Canadian citizens and residents who have been building awareness around this issue, have been learning about what the plight of the Uyghur people, and been calling for us as a government to take action. As you mentioned earlier in your initial comments, this last Wednesday was a historic vote in the House of Commons. For the first time, we actually, our government and our Prime Minister has taken position on an issue pertaining to the Uyghur. What I mean by that is, for the first time, our Prime Minister has actually voted on this issue. In the past, Cabinet has abstained, but we now, as one body, express ourselves.
This is amazing. Before we get into the intricacies of the bill, could you just enlighten us and talk about some of the hurdles that essentially it's taken years to get this passed? Could you talk to us about some of how you got it to this stage?
Certainly. So I first became invested, I should say, in this issue 3 years ago, when I was sitting as a member on the Subcommittee of International Human Rights. And it was there that we heard from concentration camp survivors, from former Canadian diplomats, from eminent jurists and lawyers, who told us that what is happening in Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region is genocide. And we heard from survivors who gave testimony that was deeply disturbing, kept me up nights. And I said to myself, I must do what I can within my ability to make the situation better. It started 3 years ago. Fast forward to or before last summer, I had a chance to put forth a private member's bill, and I chose this issue to put forth a motion, which is a statement, an expression, an intent to create the program that we voted upon this week, Wednesday.
Now, I know it's very early on. I've been getting lots of messages from people all over the world, especially Uyghurs, because this affects them. After I put out the message that I'd be having you on, they were sending me all sorts of messages. Obviously, we can't get into the nitty gritty of this, but would you be able to tell me, when we're talking about the Uyghurs who'll be able to come, who are they? Just in general, are we just talking about Chinese citizens who are in different countries who are in fear of extradition? Or we've been getting a lot of questions saying some Uyghurs have become citizens of other countries, but there is still a genuine fear of being extradited and being taken back to China.
So we're talking about vulnerable Uyghurs and other Turkic minorities, Kazakhs, Kyrgyz, others, who are suffering what's happening right now within the Uyghur region. This is the set of people we're talking about, those who are vulnerable. Now, to be clear, what happened on Wednesday was a vote, a clear expression, a promise made by all parliamentarians, and in particular our government, to create this program.
Mhm.
We have to follow through on that promise and that intent. I have no question in my mind that we are clear-eyed and will do this. We still, though, have to create that program and allow people to come into Canada. Our Prime Minister was present during the vote. He came to me after the vote, and this is exceptional, gave me a hug. This is a clear intent on the part of our government to do this. Now, the program is the House of Commons voted to start this program as of 2024 and for it to continue over 2 years and for 10,000 people, vulnerable people, to be welcomed into Canada as refugees. So again, as of 2024, over 2 years, 10,000. In terms of status and citizenship, that is not an issue. One may have an expired passport from another country. One may be a national in the country they're in right now. The key issue is that somebody is vulnerable and they are Uyghur or a Turkic minority.
Wow, that makes things a lot clear. So just to reiterate, basically any Uyghur or any Turkic group who is originally from East Turkestan or the Uyghur region could technically apply for this from 2024.
As of 2024, once the program opens up and is publicly open, that's when one can apply. I would encourage those who are applying through regular immigration procedures to also let themselves be known that they are Uyghur or a Turkic minority, and not that that is a checkbox that where we expedite a regular immigration procedure. But I would suggest that it's important for it to be known in the application, a standard application. What we're talking about at 10,000 is different. It's a refugee resettlement program. But still, those who are currently applying right now, that would be my suggestion and encouragement.
Okay. So would you have any details? Obviously, you're not going to have exact numbers. With this program, obviously, this is not a normal immigration law. What are some of the details? Like, what is a Uyghur family or a Uyghur person going to be receiving, like accommodation, food stipend, things like this, and for how long? Do you have these details at the moment?
So Canada has two different types of refugee resettlement. One is a government sponsor, and two is private sponsor. When it comes to government sponsor, we, as a government, recognize that people who are fleeing for their lives and for their safety are needing some supports in order to set themselves up to contribute to Canada in a fulsome way, as they fully intend and will do. So we do provide supports for the first year. After that point, people are fully expected to stand on their own 2 feet. And then there's a second category, which is a group of 5, for example, where people in Canada gather together, 5 people, and sponsor somebody who is a refugee. So these are the two types of ways in which one is resettled. When it comes to the second category, government does not provide supports, so I expect this one to include both, and in particular the first category. And we recognize as a country that people who immigrate, who choose Canada, people who come here also as refugees, help us understand the world. They concretely contribute to Canadian society.
Mhm.
They are very energetic and dynamic in terms of, um, helping our society, in particular in the economy. People who come here contribute to our economy in so many ways. And that allows us, in turn, as a country, to have the social programs that we are known for: healthcare, pensions when people retire. So those who are coming, I have full confidence that that people will be contributing in many ways to our society and economy.
I can tell you for now, and I'm being totally unbiased, Uyghurs are some of the most hardworking people in the world. The only thing that has been holding us back is the Chinese regime. Once even within East Turkestan, when there would be little glimpses of freedom, the Uyghurs thrived just on that little bit of freedom. So I can totally guarantee you that Uyghurs are going to do great with the opportunities given in Canada, and totally being unbiased there as well. But would you know, for example, information like where to apply, how to apply, and things like this?
So for our immigration programs and refugee programs, other programs that fall under the general rubric of immigration, uh, people should look to the Immigration Canada website.
Hmm.
And as I said, though, as of 2024, so one wouldn't find any information along those lines today.
Hmm.
But as of 2024, the Parliament said it will create such a program that would be open by then. It might be the first month, it might be the 6th month. I personally cannot say, but that's our clear intent expression. The Prime Minister and our government, that's what we have said this week.
So just to clarify, there's no sort of prepping or pre-form filling or making of lists anytime this year. Everything's starting from sometime in 2024, basically.
Exactly, but I think that anybody who applies for any type of immigration program, you always want to get your documents in
Hmm.
order. You always want to have them on hand, keep them in a safe place, have them prepared, and whenever there comes a time to apply for any type of immigration program, that's when you deposit them, but
Hmm.
have them on hand, and ready. An immigration program actually has modernized recently, especially because of COVID. There oftentimes people apply electronically, not only through paper based forms. So those are different options, and but many people are now moving towards the electronic submissions.
So we keep hearing the number at least 10,000 Uyghurs. So it's happening over 2 years. Is there a limit as to the amount of, say, Uyghurs or other Turkic groups that could apply or are being taken on?
So what was voted upon in the parliament was 10,000 as of 2024.
Mhm.
That's a minimal limit. What I would say is we'd have to see how the program works
Mhm.
once we fully expect it to be implemented and started, and that's a minimal limit. There's no maximal limit per se. We each and every year, in addition to the 10,000 that we said that we are fully intending on resettling as of 2024, we also each and every year accept over 60,000 refugees in all different types of categories.
Mhm.
So that process is different from this current one. The process that I just mentioned, the regular process, is through UNHCR referral. So for those of your listeners who are able to go to the UNHCR and get a referral through them, I would encourage them also to go there and see that avenue. That's separate and apart from the 10,000 we're talking about.
So, with regards to, I'm not sure if you answered this or not, with the 10,000, would they be applying directly, say, to a Canadian embassy or consulate? Is that how it's going to
So
work?
those details, they would be more clear as we make the program public. But so that I would say, just for now, people should get documents in order,
Mhm.
and so that when the time comes to submit, one is ready to do so.
What sort of messages have you received from Uyghurs that you could share with us about once this new law was passed?
There's been an outpouring of gratitude from the community here in Canada and around the world. Not only the community, but also those who care about this issue, Canadians who care about this issue. And there are many Canadians who deeply care about what's happening to the Uyghur people. And there were many who said, finally, we're doing something concrete. So this is there's been an outpouring of support from the community, a great amount of gratitude, and from Canadians at large, a great amount of pleasure in knowing that we are doing something that speaks to our tradition. We're a country that welcomes newly landed people. We are a country that is humanitarian, and we do our utmost best to respect everybody within Canada and around the world.
I mean, I've been to Toronto myself. It's very much a multicultural country, and me being Muslim, a lot of Muslims as well. So that's amazing to see. What would your message be to Uyghurs in general? Whether it be if you could speak to Uyghurs right now in East Turkestan, what would that be?
I would say I understand that you are going through an extremely difficult trial and a test, and it is by no means easy what you are going through. I cannot begin to imagine the intensity of it. What I would say is do your utmost best to be patient in this extremely difficult situation and to always have hope and know that things do and will get better. One has to have concrete hope and knowledge in that fact. What's happening right now is an extremely trying time, but I do personally believe that the arc of the world bends towards what is better. And it will take time, but it will happen. So I would plead with anyone who is directly impacted by what's happening today within the Uyghur region to do your utmost best to be patient in these circumstances, to understand, to be forgiving on yourself for how you may have to adjust to the context, allow yourself to to not carry guilt, and to support each other, supporting each other, being empathetic, being kind. This is so important. These acts are so important. In time, things will improve. I recognize that there is a great test that people are facing though in this moment.
Um, Obviously, I don't want to ask more of you because you've done so much for the Uyghurs, but are there any other plans, any other legislation or motions that you're pushing or you're willing to support? Any future plans? Is there more for Uyghurs when it comes to Canada and Uyghurs?
Well, first off, I won't rest until this program is implemented.
Mhm.
So we've stated our clear intent. That's half of what needs to be done. The other half is the action. We stated very clearly our intent. We must act. I will make sure that we do our utmost best to act, and will act. So I will continue to work on this. In terms of other initiatives I'm working on, I actually have been working on this issue and other issues across party lines. So with each members from each and every party, we have worked to make this motion a reality, a positive reality. We've also worked on the issue of supply chains to see that the goods that we bring into Canada are not tainted by forced labor. This is something we have recently passed legislation on, and we need to continue that to ensure that we are not taking forced labor products that are produced within the Uyghur region. In terms of pressing China to stop the abuses, Canada is continuously pressing on that with our partners, with our G7 partners, with the Five Eyes at the highest levels. Canada has been pressing for this. We are calling for unfettered access, meaning access without any restrictions to the Uyghur region, so that we can see what's going on. My personal call and our call to the authorities is to just stop doing what you're doing, and we will take no issue on this file. We ask and we plead that people stop, those those who are doing what is happening within the Uyghur region and deciding what is happening within the Uyghur region outside, to just halt this, please. At that point, we will take no issue. Until then, we will continue to work to see that this does not happen.
While I have you here, I've just got a question. You may have heard of him, Hussein Jalil, a Canadian citizen who's been in Chinese custody since 2006. Is there any work to try and get his freedom?
Yes, we have been pressing at the highest levels again. Our Prime Minister has pressed for his release and for him to be treated properly. We are continuing to raise the issue. Our diplomatic corps is continuing to raise the issue. It's important that Canadians continue to raise the issue also. Hussein Jalil is a Canadian citizen.
Mhm.
He's been detained for almost 20 years. I personally have worked on this file when it started. It's something that we got to continue to push and to raise the profile of.
Brother, I want to thank you so much. Again, you have no idea, or you perhaps you do have an idea, just for the audience. You guys have no idea how important this is for Uyghurs. Uyghurs have now a guaranteed place of safety, somewhere to seek refuge. And I hope other countries follow suit. I'm an Australian, so I hope Australia takes this on. They follow Canada's role, the US as well. I know there's a push here in the US for P2 priority status, especially for Uyghurs. Is there any last words that you wanted to say, for our audience? You're speaking directly to the Uyghurs here. And anything else that you wanted to bring up that I didn't, quite ask you? Thank you.
So on this specific initiative, I would ask that people are patient and aware that we have to implement this.
Mm-hmm.
We have stated a very clear intent and a promise that we will do so. We now have to fill that promise. So continue to call for us to do so. I invite you to do that. That's one. Two is that I ask you to remain courageous and to continue to raise this issue of what's happening to your people. Continue to raise this issue within your workspaces, at your schools, in your neighborhood assemblies, in whatever way you can. You don't have to be a great speaker or a great writer in order to do this. I would never underestimate the power of one conversation, of the small conversations that you're having on a daily basis. I know that what's happening is extremely difficult and it takes extreme amounts of patience to carry this. I ask you to stay strong. Lastly, also take care of yourself. You need to be strong in order to continue to advocate on this issue. It's okay to sometimes take a break. It's okay to sometimes take a break so you can recharge and be strong.
One last question that popped into my head. Yesterday, I came across a clip where on the American-Mexican border, where some Chinese were trying to, get in illegally. But one woman, she was posing as an Uyghur because she was wearing like an Uyghur atlas, like a Uyghur scarf. Now, during this, is there any thoughts of hiring Uyghurs or other Turkic groups to sort of verify whether the people that are being taken in this program are actually Uyghur or Turkic?
We will be verifying that those who are part of this program are, number one, vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, are who people say that they are. We
Mm-hmm.
do need to do security screenings, etc. And there are ways to do that. Number three, that exactly as you said, that people are Uyghur or a Turkic minority, Kazakh, Kyrgyz, and others. So we will be ensuring that those who deserve to be here are here. I'd also like to share that it's important that we link up with people of all backgrounds, including those who are Chinese, Han, and other minorities within China. There are people in each and every society who care deeply about the respect of people, about human rights, and basic human dignity. We need to link arms with everyone who is having that same call and same orientation. And I know that again that it takes a lot of patience and courage to do this, but I invite those who are watching to do this.
Jazakallah khair, brother. I hope I would like to get you on once more once this thing is finally implemented and there are more details that come through with all the intricacies and more details, which should probably, as you mentioned, if it's starting in 2024, about in a year's time. But thank you so much for joining.
It's been a pleasure, and thank you for raising the profile on this specific initiative.
Thank you so much. I'm just going to close out the show with a short 30-second clip of credits, and then I want to say goodbye separately, if that's okay.
By all means.
All right. Thank you, dear brothers and sisters. Make sure you share, like, and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Ümit üzme aziz halkım, ümit üzme ey ana yurt. Biz atlandık bu güreşke, uyu taştek uyuşup. Allah verse bu nusretni, bizgilerimiz sep bulur.